Hey everyone, so today I've got a deck profile for you, and it's with the new cards from Revelations, which was released here this past weekend. And I've been having a lot of fun building decks with this new set. I think it's a great addition to the game. It's made things a lot quicker. You know, the problem with the first set was it was a real control format, and now things have sped up a little bit. So the first deck I wanted to bring you here today was actually Raine Sola. So it's a very aggro deck. It's pretty funny because Raine was pure doo-doo butter. You know, after just the first set was released, he was terrible. But now that the Blazewalkers are released, he's much better. And he also got some other cards that make him nice to play with, and you'll see that whenever we get into them. Sola has become a lot better as well because its Soul Burst can be used multiple times with a new card called Eccentric Visitor, which we'll see here. It's a part of the deck strategy. But these are our champion and our spirit, so let's get into the cards here. So starting off, we've got our red cards. We do play the Blazewalker package. So we play 3 Blazewalker Rookie Arc. We play the 3 Leiah. We play 2 Raine, and we play the 1 Raine. We also do play the 3 Entreat The Blazewalkers to tutor out our cards. These are really nice complementary pieces in this deck. The deck is not based around these guys, but it's also nice to have them in there for multiple reasons. Raine is completely busted. Great card. Being able to tutor out any of the Blazewalkers if you reveal it off of his effect, or to just get a free plus is really nice. Raine is definitely the least relevant, but a 3 cost for 2000 power is nice, and also being able to give one of these guys quickness is also not bad. It can end games, it can kind of steal games, so that's why we run her. Leiah is pretty much just to recycle and plus off of. She's a no-brainer in my opinion. Also, 2 costs for 1500 power is definitely nothing to scoff at. And then Arc is our damage dealer, and actually might be the best one, to be honest. I thought Leiah was going to be the best one, but I think Arc is probably the better one. Being able to deal 1500 just by discarding him or banishing him with Raine is really nice and relevant. So that's the Blazewalker package. We do run the one of Molten Explosion. It's pretty much the best fire spell that we have, you know, to deal a quick 2000 to something that could be a problem early on if we don't clear it. So that's why we run that. So our other fire cards that we run are GZ, the Explosion Master. This guy's pretty nuts, and he fits perfectly into this deck strategy. I also do want to give a shout out to Lee from Tavern Brawlers. He hooked me up with my last 2 here, and he gave me a really good deal, so I appreciate that. I've been wanting to build this deck and showcase it for a long time, and I couldn't have done it without him. So GZ is the other fire unit that we run, and we'll get into him in a little bit. Now, for the light cards we do run 2 Hikari. This is nice for multiple reasons. Being able to create the 2 tokens whenever we have 2 or less towers is very relevant in this deck. Also, being Guardian is very relevant because sometimes you're going to need to save your own butt to get in that last swing. So these are very nice to have. With GZ, obviously, I'm sure you guys saw Yuki coming. This is a great complement to GZ. Being able to tutor this out yourself. If your opponent knows that you might have one in hand or they don't want you to go too aggro, you can bring it out yourself with cards like GZ. Also, having target attack is very relevant after set 2 because it can clear things like Reprobloom without activating its effect. So Yuki and GZ are definitely 2 of the more main focuses of this deck. So she's a very nice complement, and another reason why we run Sola as our spirit is so we can run Yuki. So we do run 2 of the new card, Kara the Lone Valkyrie. This card's really good. In our deck, we're always going to have a low count of towers because it plays into the main focus of the deck strategy. So this card is most likely going to come out for a cost of 2 or 1 even at times. It will have that plus 1000 Brawler and Guardian, so that's fantastic. And it also won't be able to be targeted at times. Although most of the time this card is coming out to get rid of a big Guardian like Juggernaut or something like that if you get to turn 5. So not being able to be targeted by spells and abilities is going to be a rare effect for it to have. But having the plus 1000 in Brawler is the relevant effect. And then lastly, we do play one Brant. Again, there's going to be so many times where you have 2 or less towers, and him having quickness and the plus 500 on your opponent's for each destroyed tower of your opponent's is very relevant because he's another out to Juggernaut. So he's a very nice finisher. So now we're going to move on to the Argent cards, or the colorless cards. And the first one we have is Bone Scavenger. We run 3 of it because it's probably the best 1-drop in the game right now. It counters Aragon, which is a really good deck right now. It's a very good strategy, a very quick and strong one. So this being a main decked out is fantastic. Also, it plays well with our Blazewalkers. So if any of our Blazewalkers get discarded to the graveyard by like the Dark Tower or something like that, Bone Scavenger can banish it for its effect. So multi-purposes, but also just a very nice, strong 1-drop. Very good card. Next up, we've got 3 Reckless Shardbeast. This is a more aggressive GZ. Being able to destroy one of your towers and then gaining quickness is really nice. It can be a nice game ender, or also kind of getting your combo started to get out some Yukis, or make certain things live that require like 2 or less towers, like Hikari or the Kara or Brant, anything of that nature. This is one of your combo pieces for sure. So we also run 3 of the dreaded Reprobloom. This card is very good, and it's free with Raine. Raine does not need to expel cards from its hand to activate its effect. It can just exhaust it itself and target this to create tokens. So that's a very crazy interaction. So there's no reason not to play this card if Raine's your champion. We do run the one Mistshaper. There's a lot of good low-cost units in this deck to copy with Mistshaper. Also, if you target Reprobloom, Reprobloom will get the tokens, and then you'll be able to add another Reprobloom from your deck to your hand. So that's very nice. And also being a 2-cost with 2000 power is extremely great in this deck. You want a lot of power for low cost to end games quickly for this deck. We played the 3 Eccentric Visitor. One of the main purposes of this deck is to Soul Burst Sola a lot. So, Eccentric Visitor needs you to have 2 or more destroyed towers to have his Arrive ability be live. So, you want to Soul Burst the Sola, get out your token, break some towers, drop Eccentric Visitor, flip back over Sola, make another token, break more towers. Very aggro deck, so this card is a key piece for sure. And then lastly, we played 3 Great Behemoth. This card is nuts in this deck. Almost all of your cards are cost 2 or less. You do run some higher cost ones like Yuki, Brant, Kara, things like that. But this is boosting up about 70% of your deck. So he's another key piece to our strategy, being able to make all of our 1,000 tokens 2,000 to be able to break any tower is extremely relevant. This card is nuts. It's usually going to come out for a cost 2, sometimes even a cost 1, and then boosting everything up, and then also being 3,000 power is just insane. So this deck is extremely quick, and this is one of the key contributors to that. But I want to get into the key players and pretty much how the deck wins. So this deck has 3 key players. One is GZ, one is Reprobloom, and one is Reckless Shardbeast. So the key to this deck is to kill your opponent by like turn 3 or 4, right? We do that in a couple ways. One, GZ being able to destroy your towers to bring out Yuki, while also having a Sola token. So having a Sola token and then also having Yuki off of GZ, swinging for 2 or 3 towers each turn is really nice. And also GZ can hit the light tower to make another token. So that's very nice. Also, your tokens that are created off of Sola and the light tower also count for reducing Great Behemoth's cost. So all of this kind of has synergy together. Soul Burst to break towers, GZ to break your own towers, creating more tokens, or destroying the fire tower, taking out multiple units, while also bringing out Yuki to take care of problem cards or even break more towers. Same with Reckless Shardbeast. Reckless Shardbeast, doing it for free. You can do it on your turn and also attack, so that's very nice. Where GZ, you kind of have to wait a turn and exhaust it to destroy things. And then Reprobloom on its own can just win games if your opponent doesn't clear it. So, very aggro strategy, obviously. Once you're soul bursting your Sola and you're breaking your own towers, Eccentric Visitor comes back in to flip back over the Sola so you can make more tokens and just, push for game as quickly as you can. Also, making Kara live to have a huge body out while also having Guardian can come in clutch, making things like that live. And then also Hikari to be able to make 2 tokens for a cost of 2 while also fueling your great Behemoth is fantastic. The whole deck has strategy within itself. The funniest part is, the Blazewalkers are pretty much the outlier here. They're only in there because they do pair well with Raine. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to say something isn't a real fit, it's probably going to be the Blazewalkers. But this deck is so quick, guys. I want you to test it out. There is a card that I do want to try, which is Ruka. It's one of the promos, but it's so expensive right now, and I think it's kind of situational. But if I had them, I would like to try them. But right now, I'm really loving this deck. It's extremely fast, it's very good, and it's extremely consistent. So try it out. Let me know what you think. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Zeppelin out.